On March 6, a viral video from Beijing sparked outrage online. The footage shows a man standing on a table inside a private dining room at a Haidilao Hotpot restaurant, allegedly urinating into the hotpot while others around him laughed. The incident triggered widespread condemnation. In response, Haidilao stated that they had reported the matter to the police and emphasized that whether staged or real, those involved would face legal consequences. Many internet users reacted with shock and disgust. Someone commented on X, "There are all kinds of people out there. I run a hotel and someone once defecated inside a room, just not in the bathroom." Another wrote, "A few years ago, a drunk woman urinated directly into a hot pot at a restaurant here. The video was posted online and the restaurant had to shut down." Other comments included, "I've even heard of people boiling their socks and underwear in hot kettles. And people used to relieve themselves on the roadside. Now they're doing it in hot pots." Another person wrote, "Some behaviors are simply beyond my comprehension as a human being." Some people on other social media platforms blamed the controversial Chinese animated film Ne Zha 2, The Sea's Fury, which was released during Chinese New Year. They replied with comments such as, "Too much Ne Zha influence. The demon child has escaped from the screen. The film encourages public urination. Isn't this just everyone's favorite? Peeing demon child? Keep making movies to promote it. And we're already seeing the consequences of Ne Zha." Ne Zha 2 was officially claimed to have set record-breaking box office numbers in China, with state media heavily promoting it. Chinese nationalist internet users eagerly followed suit, fueling another wave of nationalist sentiment. The film has sparked controversy for promoting anti-religious ideology in line with Chinese Communist Party (CCP). Even within China, some vloggers have criticized the movie for undermining traditional Chinese culture, calling its message harmful. One internet user pointed out a specific scene when Ne Zha arrives at Yushu Palace to confront the celestial gods. He spots a tree in front of the palace and, without hesitation, walks over and urinates under it. Another described a similar moment during Ne Zha's standoff with the celestial gods of the heavenly court. They prepare a chamber to distribute sacred dew. Ne Zha sees it and immediately urinates into the chamber. This controversy comes just as another public urination incident made headlines, this time at the Suzhou Marathon in China. On March 2nd, during the marathon in Suzhou, Jiangsu Province, some runners were caught urinating outside Suzhou Experimental Middle School, while others relieved themselves behind portable toilets. The next day, on March 3rd, the Marathon Organizing Committee issued a statement condemning the behavior, stating that some participants had engaged in inappropriate conduct both on their way to the starting area and during the race. The committee stated that the relevant authorities had been notified and an investigation had been launched. The incident sparked outrage online, with people commenting, "How is this any different from a dog? The bar for marathon entry is way too low. Urinating right outside of school? That's just disgraceful. If you want to follow the middle-class fitness trend, at least learn some basic manners." Suzhou keeps hosting marathons, shutting down roads and causing major traffic disruptions. What's the point of these events? While somebody asked, are they not allowed to use a restroom at all? What if they really have to go? Some speculated that there weren't enough toilets available, but this claim was quickly refuted. One runner pointed out that portable toilets were placed at every water station, meaning those who urinated in public simply didn't bother using them. Someone commented, "Why do incidents like this only seem to happen in CCP-controlled China?" Public urination and defecation have become increasingly common in China in recent years, with some incidents being particularly shocking. On February 25th, one vlogger revealed an elderly man defecating on a rooftop while using someone else's bed sheets to wipe himself. He said there was nothing he could do about him. Disturbingly, some kitchen staff in the restaurant industry have been caught urinating at their workplaces. In January, Chinese media exposed an incident at a Chengdu hotpot restaurant where an employee was caught urinating in the kitchen. Authorities confirmed the report and the restaurant was later shut down for inspection. Critics note that such behaviors seem to spread rapidly in China. People mimic bad habits instead of learning from good examples. On February 9th, Guangdong Television reported that residents of Guangzhou's Yueshiu district had repeatedly complained about people urinating near a park at night, creating an unbearable stench. Surveillance cameras captured a man relieving himself, and when confronted by reporters, he justified his actions by saying he had seen others do the same. A legal expert pointed out that such behavior could be considered a violation of public regulations. Interestingly, it seems that CCP officials are leading the way when it comes to public urination. On October 2024, the owner of a restaurant in Jiang County, Shanxi Province, publicly accused Shunbo, the county's deputy director of the Human Resources and Social Security Bureau, of urinating in the restaurant's courtyard. When he was informed that there was a restroom inside, Sun ignored the warning, threw his cigarette butt at the owner, and even made a provocative hand gesture before leaving. After the incident went viral, local authorities announced that an investigation had been launched. One internet user commented that a county-level official made not to be a top-ranking figure, but in a small town they still wield power, and yet their behavior no better than a stray dog, urinating wherever they please. When confronted, they bare their teeth like a concerned mutt. This is beyond disgraceful. China's hygiene scandals are no longer confined within its borders. Japanese media recently reported a shocking incident in which Chinese tourists checked out of a hotel room leaving behind a disgusting surprise: feces in the bathtub. The waste clogged the drain, filled the room with a horrible stench, and required an extensive 2-day cleanup. Chinese expert Yue Shan argues that Chinese people weren't always like this. He explains that before the Communist Party took over 70 years ago, including during the Republic of China era, people maintained a strong sense of manners and self-restraint, even in times of war. However, after the CCP's rise, and particularly during Mao Zedong's Cultural Revolution, traditional moral values were systematically destroyed, leading to a long-term collapse in social behavior. Recalling his experience living in China for over 40 years, Yue Shan shared a troubling anecdote from the late 1980s. Yue Shan's cousin, who was just a teenager at the time, worked at a Hong Kong-funded factory packaging candy. The workers would first taste the candy themselves before wrapping them up and placing them back on the production line. This disgusting practice was so common that no one even questioned it. He believes this behavior stemmed not just from greed, but also from resentment. Many of these workers came from impoverished rural backgrounds and had never tasted high-quality sweets before. However, he noted that back then, at least, incidents of public defecation weren't as rampant as they are today, showing just how far moral standards have declined. As China's economy continues to struggle, some people believe that the surge in public urination and defecation reflects deeper frustration and an act of defiance against society. One internet user commented that it's just a low-risk way of lashing out. Another said, people are taking revenge on society, whether it's urinating in hotel kettles, vandalizing public property, or other destructive acts. In 2024, China saw a disturbing rise in violent incidents last year, with at least 20 major assaults, including multiple random attacks. One attack occurred on November 11th in Zhuhai, Guangdong, where a car plowed into a crowd at a sports center, killing 35 people and injuring 43. Officials claimed the suspect was angry over a divorce settlement. Another incident took place on November 16 in Jiangsu, where a stabbing at Wuxi Vocational Institute of Arts and Technology left 8 dead and 17 wounded. Reports suggest the attacker was a graduating student who, frustrated over not receiving a diploma and being dissatisfied with internship wages, returned to the school to carry out the attack. On November 19, the driver ran over multiple students and parents outside Yong'an's primary school in Changde, Hunan. Authorities later stated that none of the victims were in critical condition. China's economy has been in decline for the past 3 years. Since 2023, China's youth unemployment rate has remained high, at one point reaching 21.3%. After facing public criticism, the government abruptly stopped releasing unemployment data, only resuming reports months later with revised statistics that painted a more favorable picture. According to a BBC report, experts believe the surge in violent attacks is directly linked to China's economic downturn. Many perpetrators, overwhelmed by financial struggles and social pressure, turn to violence as a form of retaliation. One China analyst explained that pessimism spreads like a virus. During economic downturns, people lose hope for the future, and that despair can push them to extreme actions. China expert Yue Shan emphasized that in a society with strong moral foundations, people don't lose their integrity just because times are tough. But in China, where morality has collapsed, self-control has become nearly impossible. Restoring social ethics is essential, but that may only happen once the CCP is gone. As China's economy continues to decline, authorities have intensified efforts to maintain social stability. Last year, the government launched a nationwide initiative to identify and monitor high-risk individuals, including the unemployed and those recently divorced. However, critics argue that rather than offering real support, these campaigns has only exacerbated discrimination, pushing vulnerable individuals further to the margins of society. Some warn that such pressure could even fuel more acts of social retaliation. China's unemployment crisis is deepening in 2025 as multiple factors drive job losses to new highs. The US-China trade war, the exodus of foreign investment, and the Chinese companies relocating to Southeast Asia have further weakened an already struggling job market. According to the pressure, China has set to see a record-breaking 12.22 million university graduates this year. Experts warn that the true unemployment rate is likely much higher than what the government officially reports. As the Chinese Communist Party holds its annual Two Sessions conference in Beijing, vast resources are being poured into the event. Authorities have directed state media to push a narrative of economic stability, emphasizing that economy remains steady. However, Chinese social media tells a very different story. Millions of job seekers are voicing their frustration and despair. On March 6, a vlogger shed light on the harsh reality of job seekers in Guangdong, noting that many people have flocked there after the new year in search of work. After almost a month, they've spent thousands of yuan on living expenses and they still couldn't find anything. So they're packing up their bags, heading home, feeling completely defeated. Another vlogger said, "So many people are unemployed right now, all desperately searching for work, but what jobs are even available? If you have no education, no connections, no skills, and you're not young anymore, how are you supposed to make a living?" One young lady was laid off after just a single day on the job. Through tears, she said, "This city is so big, but is there really no place for me here?" Someone shared that after spending a month job hunting in Shanghai with no success, they have been forced to live in a free underground shelter and survive on instant noodles. This is a big instant noodles. My friends, look at them. They're all unemployed. They've been in Shanghai for over a month now and still haven't found a job. I've been here for a week and I haven't found one either. So many people across different cities are out of work, trying everything to find a job. Every day we go to interviews, spend money on taxis and subway rides, only to get rejected again and again. In the end, we're just losing money with nothing to show for it. A disabled man shared his frustration about how impossible it is for people like him to find work.
We
disabled people have no jobs, no welfare benefits, no subsidies, just a disability certificate that we had to pay for. But what's the point of this certificate? Is it just to remind us that we're disabled? Just another label slapped on us? Can someone tell me what's happening to this society?
On March 5th, a Chinese vlogger warned people to be extra cautious when going out, saying that the rising number of unemployed and bankrupt individuals is making public spaces more unpredictable.
You've all seen the news these past few days. Doesn't it feel depressing? Let me give you a sincere warning. When you're out and about, no matter who you're dealing with, remember one thing. Stay low profile. The streets are now full of people who are unemployed, bankrupt, depressed, anxious, divorced and broke, separated from family, drowning in debt, or suffering from illnesses they can't afford to treat. Some have spent years trying to get their problems addressed but have been ignored. These people are like powder kegs. One wrong look, one small gesture, and one careless action, you might set them off. Throughout history, those with nothing to lose are the ones you should fear most. If you push them too far, if you become the final straw that breaks them, they just might take you down with them.
On March 4th, a vlogger exposed a growing trend of car tire slashings.
It's happening again. Not long ago, someone at a service area on the Guangdong-Yangzhou Expressway was detained for puncturing car tires. Just yesterday, someone punctured the tires of a Tesla in Yantai, Shandong. Apparently, a security guard was shoveling snow and used a triangular road spike to puncture the car's tires. He even admitted to it. But what now? A simple apology? And that's it? What if the tire pressure warning didn't go off? What if the driver got on the highway without knowing? The consequences could have been deadly. This is pure social revenge.
On January 5th, in Wenzhou, Zhejiang province, a sanitation worker reportedly in a bad mood deliberately threw garbage onto the road, causing multiple motorcycles to crash. As China grapples with economic stagnation, state media has received the decade-old Learn from Lei Feng campaign urging citizens to embody selflessness and devotion. However, on social media, the public response has been largely indifferent, with many questioning the sincerity of the movement. Lei Feng, originally named Lei Zhenxing, was born in Hunan province on December 18, 1940. A soldier in the People's Liberation Army, he died in an accident on August 15, 1962. The following year, on March 5, 1963, when Chairman Mao Zedong launched the Learn from Lei Feng movement, just before the Cultural Revolution, an era that systematically dismantled traditional Chinese morality. Despite the CCP portraying Lei Feng as a model citizen, many historical accounts suggest that the so-called good deeds were largely fabricated. In recent years, China's propaganda efforts around Lei Feng have intensified. Chinese state media, including CCTV News and the CCP's propaganda department, have flooded media platforms with articles promoting Lei Feng's legacy and organized public commemorations. A resident of Shandong, Lu, noted that local governments often force participation in Lei Feng-related activities, but when people look closer, they realize much of it is staged. Scholar Lu Chenyuan, in an interview with Radio Free Asia, said that the CCP is attempting to engineer morality through fictional role models. He believes that relying on outdated propaganda methods will not succeed in rebuilding social values. Meanwhile, US-based scholar Liu Yingquan dismissed the Lei Feng narrative as completely fake. He explained that Mao Zedong's original goal was to enforce absolute obedience, and now the renewed campaign is simply a tool to promote loyalty to Xi Jinping. Independent commentator Du Zhen believes that the CCP itself is responsible for China's moral collapse, having prioritized money and power over ethics for decades. He pointed out that China has reached a point where people won't even help an elderly person who has fallen. Now the government is pushing hollow morality campaigns while simultaneously cracking down on religious faith, which has traditionally guided moral behavior. As a result, social morality is unlikely to improve. The country is in crisis. This wave of public defecation, acts of social revenge, and general lawlessness is just the tip of the iceberg.